Hey friends, my name is Steve Guttenberg. This is the Audiophiliac Daily Show. And I have a funny question. It's not a ha-ha funny question. Do you listen to music standing up? Now, yeah, there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts answers, ways of answering this question. But what I mean is you listen to recorded music at home standing up some of the time, or all the time. If you answer all the time, I definitely want to hear from you. I want to know why that's the case. But anyway, I put this question up on Instagram and Facebook to my pals, and I got all sorts of answers there, and it made me think, yeah, I should make a video about this subject. Now, I guess I'm doing this because when I was an audio salesman, I noticed that many of my customers, they may have started out sitting down when I was doing demos, but a lot of them would stand up, or they'd stand up and sit down. Maybe they were listening to how the sound changed, which is legitimate, absolutely. How does it change from standing up to sitting down? Yeah. Or sometimes they would pace around the room, listening in the corners, listening over there and there. It would make me nervous, actually. That would be kind of weird. It's like, or somebody say, maybe I'll leave the room because maybe I'm making you nervous and that's why you're pacing. But anyway, they want to hear how it sounded in different parts of the room, which superficially makes sense, but I don't know. I think the reason that we call the sweet spot is because that's where it sounds the best. Because we've taken care to say this is the best position of the listener relative to the speakers. Hence, it's called the sweet spot. But then people say, but I don't always sit. Now, of course, well, maybe you want to be talking or cooking or cleaning or doing some other things that require standing. Well, then you're not really listening. Then it just becomes background. And what it sounds like when you're doing those other things is not a big priority, I would think. But, each to their own. And I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just saying it's the way it strikes me. Now, if you really do want to spend a lot of time standing as you're listening, my advice would be to buy some tall speakers. Now, when I had Magnepan 3.7s, they're 6 feet tall, which is taller than me. So they didn't sound hugely different sitting down or standing up. So, or you could buy some big Wilsons, or tall Martin Logans or something, right? Buy tall speakers if you do want to devote a lot of your listening time to the standing position. That would make sense. Or get very tall stands for your stand mount speakers. Actually, that probably wouldn't work out so well because I think the designers of the speakers are assuming there's a certain distance between the speaker and the floor. And speaking of the floor, a couple of comments were people who lay down on the floor to listen, which I think is even worse or weirder or just wrong compared to even standing and listening. The sound near the floor tends not to be good. It's like the sound is over you. It's up there and you're down here or something. So I don't quite get the floor listening thing. Maybe you're doing yoga. I do yoga sometimes. So yeah, maybe you're down there, and if you're a big yoga person and you're going to spend a lot of time on the floor listening or breathing or stretching, yeah, that could be a consideration. Sure. Maybe ceiling speakers would make sense because then the speakers would be pointed down to you. Actually, it probably doesn't work so well. But anyway, this whole listening position thing is a thing, really. No doubt about it. But and of course, if you're at a concert, yeah, chances are you might be standing. But that's different. And at concerts, I've noticed at concert halls, where you sit or stand makes a huge difference in the way it sounds. So this isn't just a question for home listening about sweet spot. It sounds hugely different depending on where you're sitting in a concert hall. Close, far, high up in the balconies. I remember one time I went to see Elvis Costello at the Beacon Theater. And that's a great theater. But this particular show, I remember the sound was really bad. So bad I was going to leave. And it was just, the bass was thick and boomy and just overwhelming everything. It was just kind of, I could barely hear the vocals over the bass booming. And but anyway, so the concert's going on, and then I'm in the balcony, and I look down and I see some seats maybe in the 20th row that were empty. Apparently they had left. So I said, I'll just go down there and get in those seats. So I go down there, sit in those seats, and the sound was way better. Absolutely. And then I noticed that there were some seats in maybe the second or third row way over on the right side. So I went down there and I sat there. And that was awful because I was very close to the PA speakers. And there it was really loud. And I don't like loud. And the bass was also, again, just overwhelmingly bad and too much of it. So I went back to my seat in the whatever it was 20th row. And that's where I stayed for the rest of the concert. And Elvis was great. Elvis was usually a great live show. I remember the first time I saw Elvis around the time of his second album, This Year's Model. And that's when he was the angry young man, Elvis. And he was ferocious. He was so intense, and the band was just on fire. I mean, those were the Attractions days. The band was just killing it. And I remember when he did Green Shirt, they had these green lights on them. It was so good. It was one of those concerts when I came home, I immediately played the record, and I played other, records, other Elvis records, because I was so charged up by that concert. Yeah, I saw Elvis many, many times, and I don't think he disappointed. Anyway, back to where you stand, and or do you stand when you listen? Of course, some people, when I put this up on Facebook and Instagram, a couple of them pointed out the Jethro Tull album, Stand Up. Yeah, definitely. And Stand Up for Your Rights. Who did that? So yeah, there's certain music where the music is commanding you to stand up. So in that case, sure, go ahead, do it. Stand up, And of course, my artist of the moment, Sly and the Family Stone, Sly has that song called Stand. Oh, what an amazing song. What else? Yeah, concerts, standing, listening, and of course dancing. Of course, dancing would be the best reason to be standing when you're listening to music at home, right? You're just taken by the music. Yeah, many people commented they just felt that the music moved them. Literally, they just couldn't sit still. They couldn't just sit in their chair and listen. They had to get up and, be one with the music. That's beautiful. That happens to me sometimes. When my wife's here, I wouldn't do that. Even around my wife, I would be too inhibited about standing and gyrating to the music in whatever clumsy form it would come out of me. So, but anyway, it certainly happens to me. And more frequently, it happens to me that I'm just sort of grooving in the chair listening to music. That's fun too. But I'm an old white guy, so that's it. But, even when I was younger, I didn't really stand. We used to, speaking of concerts, my friend Mike Trey and I went to these concerts at this theater called the Ritz. A concert hall called the Ritz. And they didn't have any seats, so it was a standing only kind of deal. And even when I was young, the idea of standing there for 3 or 4 hours through a couple of acts was not my favorite activity. I was just standing, listening to music, even if I was moving or the crowd was moving or something, just standing for that long. Not a favorite activity of Steve's. I think we've done it. I think we're good. My name is Steve Guttenberg. This is the Audiophiliac Daily Show. And we are inching closer and closer to 200,000 subscribers. Wow. And if you have yet to subscribe and you want to be part of this surge, I want it to surge towards 200,000, hit that button, right over there. When you do, hit the bell so you'll be notified every time there's an amazing new episode. And by the way, I am standing right now. I am standing right now because I am excited. I'm excited to talk to you people all over the world. That never gets old to me. You're in Norway and Denmark and Mexico and Asia and Africa. You're everywhere. For me, talking in Brooklyn to my phone, my iPhone 11, and it goes out into the world. Yikes. Man, technology is amazing. Anyway, so while you're here, you could check out my Patreon. Back on track here. You can check out my Patreon at patreon.com/audiophiliac, and there's a link to that directly below. Yeah, check out more. Check out more. Surge, binge, whatever. And now I can say my work here is at last complete. Thank you again for watching. I really do hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Bye-bye.